Kind of readjusted here. Switch back over to work mode, not music mode. That's what all these blankets are for. They kind of help with the heat as well. We got a 15-model Jeep we got to put a motor in. I'll go over some reasons why I'm putting a motor in it, not fixing the one. The motor we have here is out of a 2020 Charger. Same thing. Part numbers show to be the same. Obviously there's quite a few differences. The accessories, pulleys, intakes are different, lots of things. But we should be able to swap them over, make it all work. Let's see if this thing will start actually. Uh-oh. Oh, we got battery power. Alright. Cross our fingers. Now it starts. Here. Alright, we're going to go over a few things on this 3.6. Like I said, it's got a leaking head gasket on this side over here. And when I got to looking at the engine, normally I'm a type of person, I like to fix the motor rather than replace it. This seems overly done. It's not real fun to put an engine in. If you know how to do the timing of the engine and all that stuff, it's to me easier to fix the motor than to replace it. Other people think otherwise. It's fine, either way works. I got to looking at this motor though, and you can see here I'm missing all the brackets that hold these heater lines, this harness. And guys, man, engineers put this stuff here for a reason. It might get you out the door, but over time this wiggles, wears, chafes, cuts, have leaks, all kinds of problems. I also noticed, you can see that in there, right there, it's blue. That means these valve cover gaskets have been off. None of these hoses fit right. You can see it there. So I know somebody's been working on it. I can see everywhere where sockets have been on bolts. And I could be crazy. I think that head looks a little different than like it's been replaced. It might not have been. All these brackets on the intake are loose. So I just don't trust the workmanship that was put into it before. Who knows what we're getting into before, or what they were getting into, what they did. We got this motor over here. It's only got 50,000 miles on it. It's cheap. And this guy, they plan on keeping this Jeep, so I'd feel better just replacing it. Not saying it'd be a patch job the other way, but let's just do it. Get it all put back together correctly. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Been a while. We're gonna start by pulling the intake air cleaner. Get rid of all this stuff right here. I know you can get it out without taking this battery box out, and it's a pain to get it out of there. So we're gonna play that by ear as we get there. I might pull it out just so I don't have to fight certain things. And it's easy to crack it. And I apologize. It was number 2, not number 3. My apologies. All right, let's get to cracking. Found my fender cover. Get the intake off, or the plenum, so to say. I'm drain the coolant out of it so we can start getting these lines off of here. Pull accessories off, belt, thermostat housing, all that fun jazz. for the most part, you can get this engine out. It's not taking a whole lot apart. Like I said, it really comes down to that there battery box. So, plug go off easy. I'm just missing all its brackets and bolts and stuff. Guys, I know everybody uses different methods of hanging on the bolts. They use magnet trays. Tool trucks sell, trays with dividers all in them. You can get them at Harbor Freight. I've got some magnet trays. I just prefer to use these little boxes. They're super cheap. And you can divide them up a little bit more, like, top end, radiator, and bumpers if you're pulling those apart, and things of that nature. So this is what I use. We're going to pull this radiator out as a whole unit. A lot of guys take parts and parts and parts off. You should always try to pull everything out modular. Like, that's how they build these cars. They come apart the same way for the most part. So instead of taking the radiator fan out and the shroud, and then this, then the radiator, if you can do it, just unplug it. Take it all out in one piece. It saves you a lot of time. Oh, sorry, I got the right side. Wobbles are a lifesaver. That's where it's at, man. Oop, wrong one. What do we got here? Let's take all this out. These just pop right out of here. Pop right out. Oh, shit. Man. See? Save on that. Easy pie. Alright. We'll get the rest of these hoses off here. Pull the rest of this off. By the way, disconnect your battery. That's always the first thing you should do, and you're looking at it right now, I'm sure, and it's not disconnected. So let's do that right now. Always do your negative first. And then you gotta watch that little guy. They like to pop back, see? Hit the cable. Right, hit that post. Post. I don't know what post is. So for safety reasons, let's wrap that sucker up. I want to show y'all something else here. This is just another, man, just taking your time, figuring out how things work. It's supposed to have a collar that goes over it. And you slide this collar back and it removes this connector. What we've got to set up right now is, the trick to it is just to pull on it. And it comes off. So if you're cruising down the road and this jiggles around enough, starts backing out, guess what happens? It dies. It's unsafe. And sorry, some chafing going on there. We'll relume that, clean it up. Like I said, we're gonna put this thing back together right. One thing I am proud of is I didn't spill a drop of antifreeze. And when you're an average dude like me, you gotta crawl around under there to get the converter bolts out and everything else. So you wanna make sure it's clean, just like that. Well, you gotta take the belt off, you big goof. See, I was getting excited. Let's pull that off real quick. This has a hydraulic style tensioner. It's right there. So it's not spring loaded where you just stick your wrench on there and pull it and it goes. You gotta put pressure on it and then let it bleed down. Takes a little bit. A little bit of pressure. Should come off now though. Get the belt off of it. Yay. I mean, look guys. It's missing the safety lock on the fuel feed line here. That's just very disappointing. I'm disappointed in whoever worked on this last. I'm not saying I'm perfect and get everything perfectly back how it's supposed to be, but the one thing I dang make sure. Oh, thanks feller. Thanks for helping me out on these fuel injection connectors. Appreciate it. So the clip officially broke. I'll have to find one. Hopefully the safety ring and everything. If not, they're going to buy a new fuel line. Because there's no way I would ever put this together without both of them on there. So they did do me a favor by completely eliminating the red locks on the side you can't get to. Thanks. Appreciate it, fella. Appreciate it, guy. Alright, we continue on. Getting there. So I want to point out a few more things. This isn't some hack stuff that the last person did, but I just want to show you, like, most of these modern cars, like I said, they're kind of modular. Because when they go down the assembly line, there doesn't need to be a bunch of ruckus going on. They just want to put it in, plug it in, and go. So there's lots of different things here you can unplug. Some stuff you can leave on the engine, some it's just best just to take all the connectors off. But as you do it, you'll see it just kind of fall out of the way and make life a little easier. But yeah, just trying to point out when you're doing this to don't just start tearing into it. Kind of look at it a little bit, see how they put it together. It might save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, and putting things back, routing them the correct way. That's kind of key. Another tip, you don't have to, don't take the lines off the AC compressor. Leave it charged, work around it. Usually it's not like it's that much in the way. Very, very few cars that you have to take that sucker off to do a motor swap or anything. For the most part, you just unbolt it, throw it down on the side. Lucky for me, coming apart, the person last time left all the hard bolts loose for me, so all I had to do was just run them out by hand. That was awesome. But now we're just working on this sucker. Well, there we go. Pull that bolt out so we won't lose it. Put it on our tray. Let it hang, man. So we can work around it. Look at that. Now we got room to get to that motor mount bolt. I've also come to realize I think this engine has been swapped. It has not been as much taken apart as I think somebody put an engine in it at one time, because those bolts were loose, like I said, at the bottom, which helped me out. Going back together, not so much, because I'll do it right. But yep, gotta get these manifold, or I should say exhaust bolts off. This really doesn't have an exhaust manifold, it's integrated into the head. They make it nice that you only have to take the top 2 tins out. It slides down on the bottom, you just gotta loosen it, but it's still a bear. Get the power steering pump off. Torque converter bolts. Bell housing bolts, and she's out. Just like that. And I just want to add, same goes for the power steering pump. Don't unhook the lines. Make a mess. Use more fluid unless you want to service it. Just unbolt it, let it hang, just like the compressor, and go on about your happy way. Save you a little money and fluid. Well, the use of editing magic, it fell off. And what did I tell y'all earlier? Take a minute and look, see how things go together. I was sitting there fighting bolts that I should have never been touching. There was just 2 on the top on this big bracket, 1 on the bottom. But I did find some cool stuff while I was at it. I'll show you when I get the motor out. I know this motor's been out now. I can kind of see one of them. That is a motor mount bolt. It's backed out. It's missing one on the bottom. So this engine's definitely been out. So we're working on getting these bolts out. Here for the exhaust. So those 2 bottom ones, the manifold is actually, the exhaust is actually slotted, the flange. But for the sake of pulling it apart, I'm going to take it all the way out, just to make it easier right now. We're going to put the engine back in, we'll stick those 2 bottom bolts in, and then we'll be able to hook the converter flange on there and get the bolts started. But put those babies are on there. And let's get you down here. Take a peek underneath it. See what we got. Once again, and you can see it. It's hard to see, but right there, person did me another favor, left the hard bolt loose, just like over here. Appreciate it, guy. So I got that exhaust off, that motor mount loose. We got to get these 2 bottom bolts off the exhaust, that motor mount, get the starter out so we can get to the converter bolts. So let's get her done. Oh, 13 action on this positive wire on the starter. There goes my hat. I wish I had a lift. Alright, so that's not gonna work. Need another socket. I need my other wrench. Maybe this will work. Like it was meant to be. Come on, baby. There we go. Oh yeah. Let's wait. Spotted some ground cables up here. We'll have to get loose. Take off as well. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Let's focus on getting the starter off, because it's in the way of lots of things. Man, that's really on there. Let's try this one. I guess since they left other bolts loose, they made up for it for the starter bolts. Alright, we got the exhaust off over here. We'll move on to converter bolts. So we have to turn the crankshaft, go through the starter opening to get to the torque converter bolts. This is always fun to do so though. I believe it is a 27 mil mm. Yep, that works there. Put a big bar on it. Ratchet. Come on, baby. Let's at least put the ball in the hole there so it maybe stays when you're one wheeling this thing. Oh yeah, you know that's gonna stay on there. Close to throwing stuff. Let's take a look here. All right. Oh, see? What a second. Yep. Alright, we got all the torque converter bolts out. There was 6. Normally if you hear a ring of that flex plate, church bells ringing, that means all your bolts are out. The other way is to access the converter somehow. It's always a good idea. Most of them have access holes. You can reach back here behind it, if you can turn it, which I can. Means it's loose. You don't make sure it's all the way out. All the bolts are out and it's loose before you go yanking on this motor to get it out of here. So, bell housing bolts, I believe that's it, and we'll start pulling the sucker out. Don't move. This is the compressor's in the way. Yep. Come on, baby. Boy. Yeah. Really wedged up in there. so I don't lose it. And gun exhaust is hung up on this side. Up here. Oh. I've successfully lost both my lights. There it is. That's fine. And you see how well those boxes work? Well, there it is. She's out. Just broke one wire. Look at that. That's unreal. So this definitely had an engine at some point in its life. Man, this looks horrible. Alright. Got a lot of part swapping to do. Let's do it.